I don't believe that majority of people watching this video can take 200 to 300 milligrams of testosterone and put on as much muscle tissue as you would need to compete in a show. What's going on, guys? It's Mark Plummer from themarkplummer.com. Today we're going to be reviewing More Plates, More Dates video of Mark Plummer on his super physiological, crazy dosed mindset DHT derivative high 19 nor androgenic 19 fuck. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow me at the Mark Plummer on Facebook, Snapchat, Not BitChute, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Thank you so much for watching, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so obviously I have some explaining to do, but don't worry, I got my own back in this situation. And obviously, Derek has a lot of valid points, but I hope that you can sit and listen to this video and see that just because Derek has some very valid points and you guys respect Derek, that doesn't mean that my opinion is wrong. Because like I've said in thousands of these videos, if you guys have been watching me for a long enough time, like I always said, this is not a drug channel. This is just my personal life and how it affected me. My personal experience, and yes, that doesn't mean that it's right. It's what happened to me. This is my opinion. It doesn't have to be right. It's just the things that I have found through the last 4 years that have worked for me and worked for my clients and kind of worked for the people that I've spoken to. Over the last 4 years, I won my first bodybuilding show when I was 18 years old, and I was getting coached by a very well-known IFBB pro. I went on to provincials and went on to nationals being coached by IFBB pros that have taught me a lot. Right after I got my ass handed to me at nationals for being 19 years old, I decided to go into powerlifting for a bit and by myself worked up to ranking 8th in the world at all time. With my top lifts, with being 815 pound squat, a 500 pound bench, and a 755 pound deadlift, all at the age of 21. So to be as ignorant to say as what I've been doing over the last 4 years is not correct would be an understatement, because obviously it has worked for me and it has worked for my clients. So I just want to break down a few key points that Derek said and kind of give my explanation on it. And like I said, it's my opinion. It doesn't have to be right. Every single thing in this world has two parts to it. If you throw a ball up, the ball must come down. The same thing goes for steroids. There is science and there is reality. To have the opinion that science is the only possible way that your body is gonna respond is stupid to say, because the reality is every single person's body is different. So I was speaking in a general consensus based off of my personal blood work that I've done over the last 4 years, as well as over 25 clients I've brought to either a regional, provincial, or national show on the untested side. And I was lucky enough that they trusted me to bring them into that show, to look over their blood work. And not only did I bring all those people into the show, they all came top 5 bare minimum. So I am very well diverse on understanding the way a lot of people's bodies react to certain things and certain dosages. And I know that I came at the video speaking like this is the only way. I was speaking in a very general, like these are kind of the numbers that a lot of people fall under. And I know a lot of you guys are sucking Daddy Derek's dick and hating on me in the comments and doing all that, which I don't understand why, because I've done nothing but try to spread positivity and spread my experience that has happened simply to try to help people that don't have a lot of information on it. But with that said, For as many of you guys that this isn't applicable to, or when you got your blood work done, it wasn't relevant to, there's the other half of people that what I said is spot on, and it possibly is going to either take them to the next level in their fitness journey, or it's going to give them just that much information on what to do when they're looking to do their first cycle. So like I said, there's no right here and there's no wrong here. There's just taking as much information as you possibly can take in and making the best decision for you. And I do respect Derek in the way, because at the end of the day, like he said, don't take any more than what you need to. But at the same time, I'd like to argue that with how many people are doing blood work every 3 months? Put your hand up. Because I can guarantee you less than 10% of people just put their hands up. I know a lot of you guys watch Derek's videos and don't really understand a word of what he's saying, but just try to take pieces of it, and then you probably have more skewed information in the long run than you did even when you started. And that's why I try to come at things on a very simple baseline level of my experience, because like I said, just because it happened to me doesn't mean it's gonna happen to you. Now, I've been coached by IFBB pros my entire bodybuilding career. A lot of them are competing in Mr. Olympia this year, and they know what they're talking about, and I was kind of molded by what they have taught me over the 3 years I was competing. Mind you, as this channel grew and I offered phone consults, I've probably done over probably 400 phone consults now, where people have broken down their cycles to me, broken down what their coach has done for them. And I've brought in, like I said, 25 people into shows, into powerlifting meets, as well as my personal friend groups that compete in regionals, provincials, and nationals. And there's been like a general consensus that at a regional level, almost every single person I've talked to, and I know you are probably sucking Daddy Derek's dick, but you started at 500 or 450 in that range to compete in your regional bodybuilding show. And if you won that show, or you did well at that show, and you ended up moving on to pro qualifiers or nationals where you were trying to get your pro card, majority of people that I know I've spoke to, and the way that I was coached when I went to nationals, is I got bumped up to 650 to 750 milligrams of testosterone. And for those 1 or 2% of people that get their pro card at nationals and end up going to IFBB Pro Mr. Olympia, I would say out of the 6 IFBB pros that I personally know, and probably the 10 that I've talked to, they're all in the ranges of 750 to 1100 milligrams of testosterone for a blast cycle competing in the IFBB Pro leagues. And unfortunately, as we see these bodybuilders pass away, it is more than evident from their autopsies that they are running that much testosterone in the IFBB Pro leagues. And you can't really, in my personal opinion, start at 600 like Derek kept saying. Like, why aren't you starting at 6? Why aren't you starting at 6? Because I still believe that you still want somewhere to go. I don't believe that majority of people watching this video can take 200 to 300 milligrams of testosterone and put on as much muscle tissue as you would need to compete in a show. And I'm gonna stick behind that 10 times over 10. And I think that if you sit down and look at yourself in the mirror, you will agree with me that you're not competing or you're not winning regional shows by doing 250 to 350 milligrams of testosterone. It is just pointless. And I'm gonna touch on 2 more things here. Is 500 milligrams of testosterone is not this theoretical number that a whole bunch of meatheads came into a circle and like, I think I'll do 500 and that's what we're gonna do from here on out. Guys, I think that old school bodybuilders are probably the smartest bodybuilders that have ever walked the face of the earth. I think they've had the best physiques from 1990 all the way to 2005, 6, 7. I mean, even to when Jay Cutler won in 2010. I think that these people were probably the smartest, most well-rounded bodybuilders of all time. And somewhere along these lines of these people using steroids and competing in bodybuilding, there was a general consensus between all bodybuilders that 500 was a standard dose. And sure, if you want to come at it from Derek's side, like, there wasn't clinical studies really done at that point, and it wasn't well enough researched on the estrogenic side effects, and it wasn't long enough. But at the end of the day, all of these very high-end studies are not applicable to people like you and me. I'm not taking pharma grade testosterone, and I cannot get my blood work done every 2 months or every month or to see different levels, nor am I smart enough, nor do I want to try to rival Greg Doucette or Derek. You guys don't understand. I just simply want to evaluate my blood work and what happened to me, and then share that information with you guys. The last thing that I kind of want to touch on here is I feel that this was not portrayed in the correct way, that I was simply speaking off of risk versus reward. And I know that he kept saying, well, the studies are done at 600, so why not just do 600? But okay, so if you were taking Molly, and all these studies are done at a 0.3 of a gram, and you could do a 0.6 of a gram and you wouldn't get any worse side effects, but you still had a great time on 0.3 of a gram, why would you take more? Like, that's kind of where I was coming at it. Like, you still want to take as little as possible to get the maximum results. But I feel, and I've seen, and I've spoke to enough people that these dosages of 200 to 300 are not giving these people the results that they need to compete in bodybuilding. It just hasn't happened. And if you say, oh, well, I take 200 and I compete in bodybuilding and I win, then good for you. You are an outlier. You are a hyper responder. I'm a hyper responder for strength. A lot of people will never touch the numbers that I touched, but I'm not a hyper responder to look like Chris Bumstead. So we're each and every single person watching this channel, watching More Plates, More Dates, watching anyone is in a different ballpark. We're all in a different game, but we're all together. And that's why I hate this whole fighting and this is wrong and this is right, because nothing is wrong and nothing is right. It's just figuring out what works for you and pushing it to the level that you want to push it to. But I'm trying to help these people that are trying to make it as competitive bodybuilders, because I know how much it means to you guys to win shows and get in there. Like, we're coming at this the same way. Like, I was nobody growing up. I had no friends, and bodybuilding was the only thing that I had in my entire life and that I wanted to do. And I think a lot of people are in that situation that are watching these videos and watching this channel, and you need to take 300 to 500 milligrams of testosterone to be able to compete well in a regional show. And I'm just saying, these are general baseline numbers to follow. Some people may need less, some people may need more, but over the years and years and years of developing 500 milligrams of testosterone is a very easy base to follow. And most testosterone is 250 milligrams per cc, so it's very easy. And before this whole super frequent dosing schedule came out, it was Monday, Thursdays, 500 milligrams of testosterone. And there is so many people with that style of thinking that I don't feel it's ever really going to change. And because steroids is such a hush-hush topic, that it would never be. And I think that gonna change that. Sure, maybe in years from now, all of this will be completely irrelevant. But like I said, what happens to me won't happen to you. What happens to Derek won't happen to you. What happened to these people in the studies won't happen to you. But like I said, every single person's response is going to be different. I'm just trying to give you guys kind of a ballpark to follow, and that's it. So, I mean, no disrespect. I hope you guys can see my point, and kind of, if you don't agree with it, don't agree with it. But I feel a lot of people are going to be in this boat. So I'm still going to keep posting. I'm still going to share my experiences. I'm still going to try to lift everyone up instead of tear them down like you guys love to do so much. So like this video if you want, but I always got you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.